Good morning, ladies. How are you doing today?
Great.
Good,
Hi,
thank you.
hi. I'm Stacy Ridinger, and I am the co-founder of San Diego Business and Nonprofit Crisis Support Network. So, our crisis support network was founded in March of 2020 when we were really trying to figure out how to help San Diego small businesses and nonprofits who were struggling due to economic downturn. And our mission really is geared towards empowering those San Diego businesses and nonprofits to survive and thrive during uncertain economic times. And so here today, I have Sierra Visher Kroha and Rachael Orose, who will be speaking about their experiences in working with each other. Sierra is going to be speaking from the perspective of San Diego Social Venture Partners, and Rachael Orose will be speaking from the perspective of Words Alive, which is an organization that has benefited from working with SVP. So one more thing I wanted to mention is that our San Diego Business and Nonprofit Crisis Support Network has created a curated list of support content that small businesses and nonprofits can look at and pull from. It's curated and really melds down to information having to do with financial relief, webinars, podcasts, updated news, both from the San Diego County and others that are trying to help in this realm. And then today, as we talk, there is a list of coaches and consultants here in San Diego area that range across business functions that are available today to help businesses and nonprofits who are just looking for a little bit of a lift or really looking for more help, maybe to pivot, maybe to merge, maybe even how to close appropriately so that they can move on with things in their life. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and close that share screen and get back to our interview today. So specifically to what we're doing today, we're trying to build awareness about the range of consulting and coaching services in the area and increase those of you that are watching today, your interest in seeking out help. Now, seeking out help isn't easy. I've been one to sit back and think that I could get it all done on my own, especially with a military background. I often felt that I had kind of that experience and knowledge, but I'm telling you, in these really dire times, it helps so much, even if you just reach out for a little bit of guidance to give you that boost of confidence that you might need. Now, today we're going to speak to, first I'd like to introduce Sierra Visher Kroha. Sierra Visher Kroha is a leader in the San Diego nonprofit philanthropic community, and she is the current executive director of San Diego Social Venture Partners. Social Venture Partners is an engaged philanthropy organization with affiliates in 40 cities across 8 countries that provide funding and pro bono consulting to strengthen local nonprofits in their communities. Additionally, today, we are going to get a chance to hear from Rachael Orose. Now, Rachael is an entrepreneur social sector leader, passionate about creating engaged and lifelong learners. She has spent more than 20 years in the nonprofit sector working with national, regional, and local organizations committed to providing resources and opportunities for children and families in low-income communities. She currently serves as the executive director of Words Alive, a San Diego-based nonprofit agency serving children facing extraordinary circumstances, such as violence, poverty, homelessness, foster care, teen pregnancy, and the impact by the justice system. So, wow, ladies, I'm just so glad to have you here today. I kind of like to learn a little bit more first about San Diego Social Venture Partners. Sierra, could you tell us a little bit about that?
You'd think I'd figure out the mute button by now. I'm happy to tell you a little bit more about our work. We are one of 40 different affiliate offices around the world, as you mentioned, Stacy, and we're comprised of caring individuals from their community that want to give back at a strategic level. They often come with business backgrounds and want to leverage those skills for the community. They're willing to donate not just their dollars, but also their expertise to help nonprofits get to the next level. And we provide unrestricted funding in relatively small amounts to some nonprofits, along with wraparound services that go for 2, 3, sometimes 4 years. And then we also help nonprofits with shorter term questions on just a pro bono basis without any funding attached, but we often find that nonprofits end up valuing our pro bono consulting even more than the funding that we sometimes provide. And so really it's the model is that our members, we call them partners, they help the helpers, which is more critical now than ever before. I don't know if either of you caught a relatively recent survey from USD that showed that over half of the nonprofits in San Diego have already furloughed or laid off staff. So this is a moment of crisis, not just for our community, but for the nonprofits that are really kind of holding up San Diego.
Well, thank you, Sierra. I definitely have seen the stats. I mean, we were seeing stuff come out even early April, and things have kind of gone in different directions based on how either things closed and then things started to open back up. What I was interesting to note was that there were organizations that ended up having a bigger need. So these nonprofits that, due to economic downturn, due to layoffs and furloughs in different businesses, that the strain on these nonprofits was going up. But at the same time, even very large businesses that weren't necessarily negatively affected were pulling back and deciding, well, am I going to, provide more funding this year? It created a huge ripple effect. So your organization seems to be right on track with what we need here in San Diego. So with that, can you share with me, Sierra, more specific to, let's say, since March of 2020, how your organization has helped clients maintain momentum during this time?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I mean, you're describing that same kind of perfect storm that we've been experiencing, where the demand for nonprofit services has never been higher. And these are the organizations that are making sure that kids and families have enough to eat and don't become homeless. They're the ones that are making sure domestic violence victims have somewhere to go. They're the ones making sure people know their workplace rights. And at the same time, the funding that they're experiencing is more uncertain, more uneven, and harder to come by. But the good news is that there's a lot of individuals in San Diego that see what's happening in their own backyards and want to do something to help. And that's where we're deriving our power. Our members, called partners, like I mentioned before, are willing to contribute their dollars and their time to helping nonprofits emerge solidly from this crisis. And there's a couple of different ways that we've moved into that space in the last couple of months since the first stay-at-home order began. I'll just give one example. We were early in providing a webinar for nonprofits about how to access PPP funding. If you can remember way back to March, it was very hard to understand at that time what that program was going to look like and how you would be eligible for it and how you might get it. And it's since become much more clear, thankfully, but at the time there was a lot of confusion. And so SVP hosted a webinar for the nonprofits that we'd connected to over time about how to access that funding, and then provided very hands-on support to help nonprofits execute the application. And then now to make sure that they're qualifying for forgiveness. And I'm happy to say that all of the nonprofits that we've had a multi-year relationship with currently were able to receive the PPP funding in that first round right out of the gates, which helped them extend their time horizon, at least strategically, right from the get-go, and not just be frantic about today, but at least to have a little bit of breathing room, which set them down a path in this crisis that I think is much more positive than if they were scrambling in the early moments. So I don't know if maybe that's a good example. I'll stop there, but I'm happy to share more.
No, that's exactly. I really want those that are listening today to kind of hear some of the tidbits of how your organization can help them. Because like I said at the beginning, it's difficult to sit back and realize that you've had a business or a nonprofit for a while, and at this point you've pretty much tried everything, and you're not quite sure where to go next. So that's pinpointing exactly what I wanted to know about. Now let's move on, Sierra. A little bit more I'd like to find out about is with these struggling nonprofits that San Diego Social Venture Partners is offering help to. What free services exactly, if someone reached out to you, what could they potentially get help about? What could you guys do for them?
Sure. So we're a little bit unique in that our services to nonprofits are always totally pro bono. We never charge a dime to nonprofits. We derive our revenue from our members who make donations to be part of us. So all of our services have always been pro bono for nonprofits. But I think that's sort of extra important right now. And one important and growing program for us right now is called our Spark Team program. And that is where any nonprofit of any size or any focus area, if they have a business related question, they can ask us for support. There's a short form on our website that we hope is an easy lift to fill out. And our website is www.sdsvp.org. And when we get that application in, we'll reach out to our members and see if there's somebody that has the expertise and the availability to lead that work. And what that means is that those nonprofits will get a team of somewhere between 2 and 4 individuals with a business background that will work with them over the period of, say, 3 to 6 months to address that business related question. And our mentality is that nonprofits are programmatic experts and that they know exactly what their clients need and how to deliver services far better than we might be able to advise them on. And at the same time, they've been under-resourced for years when it comes to the infrastructure of their offices. And that's by no fault of their own. They're often fantastic. Thank you for showing that. That's our website there. And if you just go under nonprofit support, you're able to find a request for Spark Team right there under Spark Teams. And at the bottom of that is where you can submit a request. And unfortunately, the funding community has made it difficult for nonprofits to invest in their own business. And so oftentimes they haven't been able to kind of hold the space for themselves to think strategically and be resilient over the long term. And we recognize that overhead is not a dirty word and that every nonprofit needs it. And that's why all of our funding is unrestricted, and our volunteer support often kind of falls into that category of operational capacity building. And so any nonprofit that wants just a sounding board to kind of think through a certain strategic direction, or something much more tactical, like how can I change my financial statements into something my board can understand at this time? I'm working with a variety of financial scenarios and I don't know how to express them in a way that helps everyone kind of think through the different options. Or I am concerned about the situation with my employees working from home. I don't know what kind of liability that opens me up to. How can I learn more? All those kinds of questions are the ones that we can tackle at SVP. And if we can't, we'll let you know right away that we don't have that expertise or that availability.
Well, thank you, Sarah. That was extremely helpful. And I hope that those that are watching today, that you do take a look at SDSVP's website. As I did pull up, it's very clean, easy to navigate. And I'm guessing, Sierra, if they have more questions, there's probably some other area to kind of ask those questions on your website as well.
Yeah, you can just fill out the contact form and it comes straight to me, frankly, anyway. So I'm happy to answer those questions, or you can just give our office a call. And I'll also just mention that as much as nonprofits benefit from our services, I think what's always been very rewarding for me in this role is hearing from our members that that experience of giving was extremely powerful for them as well. So really, it's sort of two sides of the same coin, in that these nonprofits are strengthened as a result of our pro bono consulting, and yet the individuals that care about their community find that they're able to do something that matters when they join SVP and give in that way.
Well, I think you just teed us up perfectly for Rachael Orose. So without further ado, we will talk about how these two organizations are working together. But first, Rachael, if you could please share about your experiences working with Words Alive here in San Diego.
Sure, and thanks for inviting me to this fun conversation.
Sure.
Words Alive is a nonprofit that's served the San Diego community for over 20 years. We connect children, teens, and families to the power of reading. And so for 20 years, we've really worked in Title I schools, which are low-income schools, and with nonprofit partners to help bring that power of reading through parent workshops, classroom readers, book clubs, to students who may not have had a really great past engaging with books and engaging with the power of words. One of the things that's really unique about Words Alive is that the students we've served for the last 2 decades are experiencing some form of trauma in their life or some form of disruption in their life. And so we have this incredible track record of how to take reading as a tool to help them navigate the mental health impacts or the skill building impacts, and the skill building impact that can help them better be more resilient as they navigate the space. For pre-COVID, we served about 3,500 students in San Diego with the support of 300 community-based volunteers. All of our programs were delivered in person. They're delivered in person in schools. So March 13th, we get notification that schools will be closed for what we thought were a couple weeks. On March 18th, we launched a website where we had boiled down our core programs into bite-sized pieces. What could we deliver safely online in bite-sized pieces, recognizing that the best intervention and the one that is most proven, that we spend a lot of time looking at, is our volunteers engaging with students. We boiled them down into bite-sized pieces, put them up online, and saw immediate traction. Words Alive went from a small-ish community here in San Diego to having over 30,000 people visit our website, 11,000 of them coming back time and time again because they're looking and finding resources that are supporting children and families, either their own or the ones that they serve. These individuals are coming from across the country and around the world. Canada, England, and Portugal are our three biggest international visits, which is really, really exciting for us. And then on social media, we saw an equal explosion when we took those same tidbits and tips and engagement opportunities and put them out through social media and started thinking about social media as a programming device, not just a microphone for NPR device for who we are. And we have seen tens of thousands of people since March engage with the content, meaningfully engage with the content as well. And so we were able to make that pivot right away and make that shift right away, thinking that this may be lasting a couple weeks, when in fact, we're months from March now. And that shift was pretty intense. And so it gave us a little bit of an opportunity to think about how do we reframe and restructure our core programs while being able to continue to take our best practices and share them in the community. So that's a little bit about what we do and what we've done. I think what was important for me as a nonprofit leader was trying to figure out how can Words Alive, a literacy organization, remain relevant when the primary needs of the families that we serve are food and housing and safe places to live and safe ways to access education and those pieces. How does a literacy organization remain relevant? And that was a really big question that we wrestled with then and continue to wrestle with now.
Okay. Well, just your numbers that you stated as far as pre-COVID to now, it sounds like your organization, like we talked about earlier, has grown as far as with that demand of the needs that you all provide. So I'd like to kind of learn a little bit more now about how San Diego Social Venture Partners early on with Words Alive has helped your organization. So maybe if we could start with Sierra, if you could tell me a little bit about that. And then I'd like to hear from you, Rachel, afterwards about how you've seen that impact help your organization grow and sustain.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to provide a little bit of history, especially since Rachel wasn't here in San Diego at the time of the beginning of our relationship. Words Alive was selected by our partners in 2014 to receive our unrestricted funding and pretty intensive multi-year volunteer support. And during that time, we kind of worked soup to nuts with Words Alive on a whole variety of different business areas. But one that I will just highlight is that they had recently merged with another organization. And of course, like any merger, that raises a lot of sort of personnel and HR kinds of questions. And so we helped them tackle that. And when the stay-at-home order was issued, we knew that Words Alive delivered their program in schools, and so reached out thinking that they might have some strategic questions on the table. And I was really glad that Words Alive did request a Spark team from us, and we've been working with them since March in that regard.
One of the things I think Sarah, to really highlight is that Social Venture Partners helped Words Alive with the core infrastructure that enabled us to be able to pivot the way that we have. So the teams that helped Words Alive over the course of 3 years really helped us put those pieces in place that at the time we thought were probably really great things to do. During this crisis were absolutely critical to have, and we were able to lean into them. And I think that's one of the reasons that we've been able to pivot and shift, is we could lean into solid infrastructure and lean back and be able to turn successfully, knowing that the supports that SVP helped us put into place were there.
So what I'm hearing from you, Rachel, is that I'm just, speaking from if I were someone watching today, So with that relationship with social venture partners, if let's say that you had assistance that you needed with some legal questions, or you had assistance with something having to do with fundraising, or having to do with maybe digital engagement or marketing, are those some of the specific things that they've been able to help you with? If you could maybe touch on maybe one example like that.
Sure. The most supportive resource SVP has enabled me to do is space to think with people who are willing to help me think and wrestle. We were moving and are moving so quickly that the opportunity to take a step back and try to explain the strategy and hear from a team of remarkable business experts to be able to say, have you thought about it this way? Have you thought about what this impact might look like this other direction? I think as a nonprofit struggling through this crisis, as we all are, our blinders go up on trying to figure out how to provide services immediately. And so having that space to think and having that sounding board has been exactly what I have needed. My program director and I have been the ones in conversation together, and it's allowed for us to do some alignment on the program side as it aligns with our fundraising side and the business strategy side. And it's space sat us down and we realized we were just on different wavelengths. And so just having that feedback, and even something as simple as how do you, Words Alive, vet programs to think about whether or not you actually want to continue them. You did them right out of the gate. That's great. That's fantastic. Sounds like they've got great traction, but how do they line up with your goals and where you're headed? And just those sort of what some might think are pretty basic thoughts or structures are the things that are falling by the wayside when trying to manage the pandemic and the crushing reality of the fundraising challenges that we're facing, and the fact that right now, nonprofits, we're actually designed to operate here. We're designed to operate when the market fails, when all things go haywire. That's why the nonprofit sector is here. And so we are at full alert and full capacity on program side. I think, as Sierra mentioned, the SVP resources to think beyond that and line that up has been incredible.
Well, with that, with that testimonial about how they've helped you, I really do hope that those watching today, if they feel like San Diego Social Venture Partners might be a good fit, that they at least take a look at their website and maybe go there and even just send a note about wanting help with the Spark teams and to have a conversation to see if it's a good fit for you. So with that information, Rachel, I kind of wanted to, really wanted to kind of find out from either one of you, for those that are listening today, is there anything that you'd like to share as far as words of encouragement, lessons learned, anything at all that you think would be useful to them as we kind of close out our interview today? I'll start with you, Sierra.
Because you saw me take a big breath? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I do encourage nonprofits to reach out for help, even if you have a hard time stating your question very clearly. We can help you with that. And then if we can help answer the question after it's clear, then we'll do that as well. But I also want to encourage all those that are listening that care about their communities and have time to give at this juncture, want to see the San Diego start to heal and change the status quo, to consider becoming a partner at SVP as well, so that we have the strength to keep responding to organizations like Words Alive. We're seeing a lot of incoming requests for support, and we're only able to meet that demand when we have partners that can give their time and their expertise and make a donation to join Social Venture Partners. So if anyone's interested in that, that's listening, I hope they reach out to me as well.
Can you tell me, just for a quick bit, what type of partners are you talking about as far as people that are your really helping to keep your nonprofit moving ahead?
Sure.
Financially.
So, yeah. So we definitely benefit when we have people with significant business expertise in our midst, which is not to say that you have to have 40 years of business experience in a certain vertical to be valuable. But people who are earlier in their careers often struggle to provide that kind of high level strategic support that nonprofits need. So we're looking sort of mid-career and up professionals. And to become a partner, you have to have that kind of generosity of spirit and willingness to give those business related skills and openness to learning about how you might adapt your business background to the nonprofit space, because it's not exactly round circle, round hole. It's more like oval, circle, oval peg or whatever that expression is. So that is not a perfect fit. There's a little bit of translation that needs to occur. So you have to be open to that. And then in order to become a member of SVP, for us to provide truly pro bono service to nonprofits like Words Alive, we require that everybody make a donation to Social Venture Partners, and we ask for a personally significant gift. And so that opens us up to a whole range of conversations about what that means to each person. And I'm happy to have that on an individual one-by-one basis as people express interest.
Okay. And Rachel, did you have anything else you'd like to share with everyone?
I do. I'm new to the San Diego community. I've been here for about 2 years now. And I think the advice that I'd like to share and the insight that I'd like to share is there are people here who can help. There are people who are ready to help, that are willing to help, and that are deeply invested in our sector and the great work that we're doing. And I'm so thrilled to have had an opportunity to engage with SVP and with other partners around San Diego who have offered that help. And so thank you for helping connect us with more resources and connect other organizations with more resources, because this is tough. And being able to do and navigate this crisis together is incredible.
Thank you very much, Rachel and Sierra. What I'd like to do quickly is I'd like to go back and do a share screen of San Diego Business and Nonprofit Crisis Support Network, where you'll be able to find this recording if you're interested in watching it or sharing it with others. This is a part of the site here. As you can see, we've done interviews with San Diego Volunteer Lawyer Program, which is here helping and providing great pro bono support, as well as Donation Match, which is an awesome organization. Definitely if you're looking for a way to kind of get free products or services for some of your fundraising events, check them out. And then what I also want you to take a look at is this full list here, and this is vetted. So these are currently organizations, for-profit and nonprofit, that are offering support across a range of business functions, communications, marketing, business strategy, fundraising, you name it. So please take a look at this. And we hope that today was very helpful for all of you. And we're going to close out today, and good luck to everyone out there. Stay safe, and take a look at San Diego Social Venture Partners. Hopefully they can be of service to you. Have a great day.
Thank you.